The galactic education facility on Theris Prime had never hosted a human instructor before. When teacher Mara Lynn stepped through the reinforced doorway of Classroom 7, 43 pairs of predatory eyes locked onto her with an intensity that would have sent most species fleeing. The Therosi were apex hunters from a death world where survival meant kill or be killed. Their young called cubs bore retractable claws, razor-sharp teeth, and muscular frames designed for ambush predation. The oldest among them was barely 12 cycles old, yet each could tear through reinforced steel with their bare hands. Mara set her teaching materials on the desk and smiled. "Good morning, class. I'm teacher Mara Lynn, and I'll be instructing you in Standard Galactic Common." A low rumble of growls rippled through the room. The cubs shifted in their seats, designed to accommodate their powerful hindquarters and tails. In the front row, a young male with distinctive amber markings along his neck leaned forward, his nostrils flaring as he scented the air. "You are prey," he stated, his voice carrying the guttural undertones of his species. "Why do the elders send prey to teach predators?" Mara's smile didn't waver. "What's your name?" "Cub Corin of the Dark Ridge Pack." "Well, Corin, I'm here because your people asked for the best language instructor in this sector. That happens to be me." She picked up a digital stylus. "Now, who can tell me why Standard Galactic Common is considered a difficult language to master?" Silence. The cubs exchanged uncertain glances. They had been prepared to intimidate, perhaps even to test this soft-skinned creature's breaking point. They had not been prepared for actual teaching. Corin's tail swished with agitation. "The grammar structure is illogical. Words change meaning based on invisible rules." "Excellent observation." Mara activated the wall display, and symbols materialized in glowing blue light. Common evolved from 13 different root languages, which is why it seems chaotic. But there are patterns. Let me show you. The next hour passed in a blur of lessons. Mara broke down complex grammatical structures into digestible pieces, using examples from Therosi hunting terminology to illustrate verb conjugations. The cubs, initially skeptical, found themselves leaning forward, their predatory focus now directed at the challenge of mastering this strange human subject. Corin proved to be her most attentive student. While other cubs fidgeted or play-fought in the back rows, he absorbed every word, his amber eyes tracking her movements with laser precision. "For homework," Mara announced as the lesson concluded, "I want each of you to write 5 sentences in common. Describe something important to you. A hunt, your family, a place you love. Make it personal." The next morning, Mara arrived early to find Corin already waiting outside the classroom, a data pad clutched in his clawed hands. "Teacher Mara Lynn, I completed the assignment." She took the pad and began reading. Corin had written about his first successful hunt, the moment he brought down a ridge runner and earned his place among the juvenile hunters. The sentences were choppy, filled with grammatical errors and spelling mistakes. He had confused verb tenses, misplaced modifiers, and somehow invented entirely new punctuation marks. It was absolutely terrible, and it was beautiful. Mara felt something catch in her throat as she read about the pride in Corin's sire's eyes, the taste of victory, the belonging he felt when the pack howled his name under the twin moons. Through all the errors, his genuine emotion bled through every word. "This is," she began, then paused. Corin's ears flattened against his skull, his body language screaming disappointment. He thought she was going to criticize him, to confirm what he already feared, that prey animals were naturally superior at these intellectual tasks, that predators like him were too savage for such refined pursuits. "This is wonderful, Corin." His ears shot upright. "But there are mistakes, many mistakes." "Yes," Mara agreed, sitting down at her desk, "and we'll work on those together. But do you know what I see when I read this?" She gestured at the datapad. "I see someone who tried. Someone who took something difficult and refused to give up. Someone who has a story worth telling." Corin's tail began to wag slowly, a sign of pleasure in his species. "Truly?" "Truly." Mara made a decision in that moment. She pulled up the file, printed it onto actual physical paper, a rarity in the age of digital everything, and reached for the frame she kept in her desk drawer. It was simple, made of earth oak, brought with her across the stars. "What are you doing?" Corin asked, watching as she carefully placed his error-riddled homework into the frame. "I'm going to hang this on the wall," Mara said. "Right there where everyone can see it." "But teacher, the mistakes show you're learning. Anyone can write perfectly in their native language, but to write in a new language, to put your thoughts into words that don't come naturally, that takes courage." She hung the frame on the wall beside her desk. "This is proof that you're brave enough to try." Corin stared at his framed homework, his expression unreadable. Then, in a gesture that surprised Mara, he pressed his clawed hand to his chest in the Thoreausi sign of deepest respect. "Thank you, Teacher Mara Lynn." Word spread quickly through the school. The human teacher had framed a student's homework, not the perfect assignment of some prodigy, but the mistake-filled attempt of an ordinary cub trying his best. Other cubs began to stay after class, asking Mara to review their work, no longer afraid of showing their errors. The frame remained on the wall throughout Mara's tenure on Theris Prime, and when Corin graduated years later, having become fluent in 7 languages, he gave a speech in flawless Common about a human teacher who saw potential where others saw only prey. But he never asked for the frame back. That, he said, belonged in her classroom, inspiring the next generation of cubs who needed to learn that mistakes weren't failures. They were proof you dared to try.